Welcome back, everybody. We are here with the first episode of the 2022 Itrad Fantasy Podcast. I'm here with my co-host and commissioner of the league, Eddie Hernandez. You all know me, Justin Bird, both owners in this league who've been here since day one. Excited to get into this new season. I think we're about exactly 2.5 weeks away from the first Thursday night game with the Rams and Bills, which
Yep.
should be a really good game. I'm excited to be back here. You know, it's the best time of year, really. Nothing like it. And so for this episode today, we really don't have too much to talk about. You know, we got the draft coming up. We're just gonna hit a little mock draft for you guys, and then we'll go into another little segment after that. But we don't want to talk too much really about the draft. We're just gonna hit the first round. You know, nobody wants to give away, I guess, where they're making their money in the draft and whatnot. So we're gonna get right into it here. So me and Eddie both got our round one mock drafts. Starting off with pick one, Sonny. I don't know what his team name is, but we're just gonna call him Fear Penis Tigers here. Number one overall pick has to be Jonathan Taylor. This is the consensus number one overall pick I've been seeing everywhere on every expert fantasy list. Jonathan Taylor is this is going to his third year now, right?
Yep.
Third year guy. I'm pretty sure the stat I saw with Jonathan Taylor, he's only missed one game in his career, which was due to a close contact COVID back in his rookie season. So this is a guy who's been getting a line share of targets and touches, and is just a true workhorse guy who's never gotten injured. And I just think that's like a clear-cut first overall pick there for Sonny.
Yep.
You take it away.
Yeah, me and you were on the same page. I also have him projected to take Jonathan Taylor at 1, but I think he is considering, the other side of that, potentially going with CMC, who, arguably has a higher ceiling when healthy. Obviously, the last 2 years he's been struggling with injuries. But, if it were me at number 1, Taylor's definitely the safe pick. Like you mentioned, he's never missed a game due to injury. So if you're looking for security, Taylor's definitely that route. And I think he is also considering Jefferson, which, that's...
Has there been rumblings of that? I haven't
There have been
heard
slight rumblings, yeah. And I
Really?
mean, you can understand why. Jefferson is projected to have like a monster season.
Yeah.
But for me, having one of those two elite running backs that are game changers.
That's what Castro was talking about in the chat before, I guess.
With what?
Said he was gonna take a running back at 3 that wasn't CMC.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If it was me at number 1, I mean, the only thing that's scaring people away from JT, or not really even scaring people, but his only red flag is this Naeem Hines hype coming out of preseason and training camp. The guy came out and said that he wants to break his season record for receptions.
That's so random.
Yeah, right. It's just such like it seems like he just directly going at like number 1 overall pick fantasy heads, just trying to.
Yeah.
Every day it's like a different thing about him in camp making these crazy catches and whatnot. But I mean, I wouldn't really be too worried about that. I mean,
No.
Jonathan Taylor last year, you saw he doesn't even need that work in the receiving game. The guy has literally breakaway speed to get those 60, 70-yard touchdown runs.
Yep.
He's just a workhorse guy. He's going to be getting all the carries, and he's just really just all around great back. Honestly, it's not like he can't even catch the ball. He's still good in the receiving game. So
that Colts offensive line is elite.
yeah,
they got some playmakers around. It's just a really good system to be a part of.
We'll go number 2. I'll let you start off with this number 2.
So this is kind of updated. A week ago would probably be different, but Julian swears that he's not going CMC here. So I have him projected to go with Justin Jefferson. I don't hate the pick as someone who was just burned by CMC. I kind of understand where he's coming from. Jefferson, they brought in a new coach, O'Connell from the Rams. So a lot of people are saying they're going to be passing a lot more, and Jefferson's going to kind of take over that Cooper Kupp role. So, I mean, if that's the case, Jefferson's already, I think he had 1,400 yards as a rookie, 1,600 his second year last year. So, I mean, the sky really is the limit for him this year. So, at number 2, I know that would, definitely upset Castro, but I think it is, a worthy investment there.
Yeah. At my number 2, I actually have Julian taking CMC. I just think in the moment, like, I don't think he's really going to be able to pass up on CMC at 2 in the moment. He's got CMC in Rich's league, which he kept. So it's not like he's really that anti CMC, like
Yeah.
he kept him in the other league. So it's kind of like when you're there and you're drafting and it's just different. You're in a different kind of mindset. It's easy to say, yeah, I'm not touching CMC. But once you get in there and the clock strikes and it's your pick and you see that green light up and CMC sitting there and you're like, shit, I really want to go wide receiver at number 2 with CMC on the board. I think he's going to stay with CMC, in my honest opinion. I just think it's too hard to pass up there at that pick.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Jefferson is a bad pick there. I think it would be a good pick as well. But I don't know if I could see him passing up on CMC there at 2.
Yeah, I agree.
So going on to number 3, we have Castro. So I had JT then CMC. So I think Castro here would go with Justin Jefferson in my mock. Really, it's a toss up there between him or Kupp. If it was anyone else, that would be the toss up. But knowing Castro, I mean, I'm almost positive if he's there, he's gonna go Jettas with that pick.
Oh yeah.
We already talked about the new offensive coordinator and whatnot, and we all know. I honestly think after this season, Justin Jefferson will be the bona fide number 1 wide receiver in the league, no questions asked. So who do you have Castro taking in your mock now?
So, I mean, again, taking his word for it, well, not so much here. I think, kind of like you said, CMC on the clock at 3, I mean, he kind of swears that he's against him, but I think in that moment, he's just too valuable to pass up on. So I do have him going with CMC. I mean, when this guy's healthy, he's like 25 points a game, pretty much locked. Like this guy, they drive down the field, he can get 12 points in a drive, like the first drive of the game. And I mean, as an opponent going up against him, seeing that happen against you, it's just like demoralizing. He is absolutely like the most valuable fantasy asset when he's healthy. So at number 3, even if he doesn't want him, he could, work trade offers and whatnot.
Yeah.
He's just too valuable to pass up on.
So I think we all had a JT, CMC, or Jettas in not in the same order, but those 3 off the board.
Yeah.
Number 4, I have my pick. I have no problem going out there and saying I'm taking whoever's left of that JT, CMC, Jettas, and Kupp. So in this case, I would go Kupp. It's just too hard at that point to pass him up. Really, fantasy MVP last year. I mean, he's got pretty much the same core, reigning champs. Everybody's back besides OBJ. Robert Woods got traded. They brought in Allen Robinson, but mostly still the same cast there. So I mean, for me, this is a pick where I'm looking at everybody left on the board, and it's like Eckler, Dalvin Cook, Henry, Najee, who are all backs that have red flags attached to them, and Kupp really doesn't have any red flags whatsoever. So it's just the safest pick for me. I know ESPN I think has Eckler actually at 4 ADP now. I think Kupp was 3 and then Jettas is 5. But yeah, Eckler. Only thing scaring me about Eckler is that they say. I mean, not what they say. It's statistically like proven. Once a running back hits 27, their fantasy production just hits that really big downslope, which kind of scares me. But so that's why I'm going to go with Kupp if he's there in that situation. So
yeah, so I'll kind of pick up with that. I also have you going with. I'm getting a call. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear.
All right. So yeah, I also have you going with Cup at 4. Eckler kind of in the conversation, but like you mentioned, his age is one concern. He also scored 20 touchdowns last year, which kind of came out of nowhere. Like the year before, I think he only had 3 or 4. The year before that, I think he got hurt. But again, this guy is not like Derrick Henry at the goal line, just guarantee, punch that in. Cup, definitely the safer floor. He has elite upside. We saw last year, nearly 2,000 receiving yards, gets like 8 catches a game. The only red flag regarding him isn't even him. It's that Stafford has like some elbow issue in
Yeah.
camp. So that would be like the one and only thing to monitor with him. But other than that, I mean, he's safe and he has upside in the top 5. I think he's a pretty solid pick at number 4.
Yeah, so going off that, we got Nick at 5. So who do you have Nick taking at number 5?
Nick's kind of flip-flopped a little bit with who he's been, rumbling about getting. I have him projected to go with Dalvin Cook. I think he's always kind of been a Dalvin guy. I think he's buying into the fact, the new offensive hype around there. They brought in the new coach from the Rams, like we mentioned with Jefferson. Cook, I think he kind of struggled a little bit last year, disappointed as a top 3 pick. He didn't score as many touchdowns as we're accustomed to him scoring. But overall, when he's healthy, he's still out there producing. So top 5, a little bit risky. But if he stays healthy and gets in the end zone a little bit more in what projects to be a higher scoring offense, Nick will be happy with taking him at 5.
So actually, I have Nick taking Eckler at 5 here. Um, Not for any real particular reason other than the fact that when you do draft Dalvin Cook, you need to get Alexander Madison.
Yes.
I just feel like that's not really the case with Eckler. You don't need Eckler's handcuff,
Mm-hmm.
really. So I think that just makes him a little bit safer at 5. I can see him going either way though, but I have him right now taking Eckler.
Yeah.
And that brings us to number 6. We have Kenny here. Now, this is easily the hardest pick in the mock draft, as we were explaining earlier today, because you really don't know what he's taking into consideration when he's making his pick.
No.
He doesn't do homework. He doesn't really even watch football. So it's kind of just like, I don't know who he's going to take. I think he's gonna go Dalvin Cook in this situation, just because it's kind of like a familiar name that he just knows. Really,
Yeah.
I think he had Dalvin Cook uh, in the 2019 season.
Yeah, I had him when he was good.
Yeah, he had Cook when he was good, but just makes me kind of think that he's just gonna settle for him here. I don't know if ESPN has Cook above Henry in their rankings,
They're
but
probably like right next to each other either way. I'm not sure.
yeah, so I just have him. I have him going Cook here. I think it's kind of just going to be between him or if someone else is on top of him at the ADP at that time. So
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because someone like Kenny, like you mentioned, doesn't do their homework, doesn't watch football. So he's going to kind of just look at the board that's presented to him and look at the rankings and maybe use some of that as input into who he chooses. But then again, maybe not. Like
yeah,
last year, he chose Miles Sanders in the 3rd round. He wasn't like the highest player. He just kind of
yeah.
shocked everyone with taking him. But at 6, I have him going with Austin Eckler. So we flip flopped 5 and 6. For me, it was kind of between him and trying to think like Kenny would think, him and Kamara, and he took Kamara last year, and he was okay. He was banged up for part of the year, but mostly disappointed. I don't think he's ever had Eckler, so I think he, opens up a
Yeah,
new
that leap of faith there.
yeah. So Eckler, as far as how he'll do this year, I mean, they did draft Isaiah Spiller, who is getting some hype out of camp. I don't think Eckler will score 20 touchdowns again, kind of like we touched on. But at 6, he's still going to catch, his 4 to 5 passes a game, get a decent amount of receiving yards, and still a fair amount of carries. So
Mhm.
I'm a little bit worried about him this year, but I think he'll do okay
Yeah.
for being taken at 6 for Kenny.
Yeah. So then that brings us to number 7. We have the Kearney Satrialites. Is that how you say it? Satriales?
Satriales, yeah.
Satriales. Kearney Satriales. Owner Michael Merlo, beloved owner who just got back into the league last year after a little bit of a hiatus. What did Mike finish last year? Like 6, or he
I
lost in
don't,
the first round to
Ke-
Kevin.
I know we played Kevin in the first round. Him and Kevin were like the 4 and 5 seed. They were neck and neck.
But Mike's an owner who, he knows what he's doing. He has been raving a little bit about Kamara. Is it smoke and mirrors? I don't know. I kind of think though in this at number 7, what's we've been hearing is Kamara's not going to be suspended this season. So I think a Kamara pick here it makes sense. This is what I have him taking. Out of everyone, all the running backs left on the board, Najee, Henry, Mixon, I guess Swift in that conversation. I think Kamara is the best bet. I think he's the most talented back left. I guess, I mean, maybe not more talented than Henry, but Henry's got red flags for his own reason. But
Yeah.
I think Kamara will probably be the pick for Mike here at number 7. Saints offense has more weapons now. They're getting Michael Thomas back. They got Jarvis Landry. They're not going to have to lean on Kamara as much, but in those red zone situations, Kamara is always deadly. So, and they still got they lost Teron Armstead, but they always have a good O-line unit.
Very true. Yeah, so I mean, talking to Mike separately a little bit, he definitely has been raving about Kamara. I do have him projected to go with him. And at 7, I feel like that's a pretty fine investment.
Yeah, pretty
Kind of,
solid.
yeah, I mean, you touched on it a little bit. They got more weapons around. Drew Brees out of town. He's been out of town. I don't think he'll excel in the same way that he did with Brees because of the checkdowns and the work he got in the passing volume. James kind of wants to push it down the field a little bit more. But at 7, I mean, it's tough to pass up on a talent like Kamara. You kind of mentioned the other guys like Henry, Najee. I would definitely take Kamara over them. So,
Mm-hmm. So number 8, we have Diego. Now we're getting to the spot where it's kind of like the top guys are all off the board, and so everybody from this point to 12 is kind of interchangeable.
yeah.
But I have Diego taking Najee Harris here at 8. I just kind of feel like this pick fits Diego. I don't know really how to explain it. Maybe it's because he's a Pitt man and Najee plays in Pittsburgh, but I feel like this is a pick where he is one of the safer bets. He's in a backfield by himself. He's not getting any goal line carries vultured from him. He catches the ball out of the backfield. He's not going to be taken out on third downs. He didn't get taken out on third downs last year. The only thing that's concerning about Najee is the fact that the Steelers don't really have a quarterback right now that is like someone who you could really trust to get them into the red zone a lot.
True.
But I mean, I feel like at 8 it's a safe pick because he's got no competition in his backfield, so it's really the workload's all his.
Yeah. Now you hit on a lot of good points there. As far as who Diego will take, I was between Najee and Henry.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have him going with Henry here, so that's good. We have a little variance here.
Yeah.
I mean, Henry, I'll be the first one to tell you, was on like a historic pace last year.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, the workload kind of caught up to him. He banged up his foot and was out for the rest of the regular season. The good thing, I guess the silver lining with that heading into a new season, it wasn't like an ACL. It wasn't a big, devastating injury. He did come back for their playoff game. Really, the red flags around Henry aren't even him or his injury history. It's the fact that their line isn't nearly as good as it used to be. A.J. Brown's out of town, so it's kind of up in the air, what weapons are going to be able to contribute aside from him.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I mean, I think most people would say he's the best back in the league. So
Yeah.
for the 8 spot, I think Diego might bet on the talent and the upside that we saw, pop off last year with.
Mm-hmm. So at number 9, we have The Sopranos, managed by Guy Fiorito. Here, I have Guy taking Henry. Henry at number 9. Out of everyone who's left, I feel like is just the best value pick. Uh, I feel like if Henry stays healthy the entire year, there's no way he finishes outside of like running back 8. So take him at 9, I feel like is really good value. Can't really go wrong with the pick. Like you said, his injury wasn't to an ACL, so even though with a little bit of the downgrade on the offense, just like Najee, the backfield is his. He's not getting any red zone targets vultured from him. So I just think it's a really safe pick. I don't think Guy's gonna go with wide receiver here.
Yeah.
Just knowing Guy, like he likes to kind of just play it safe. I don't think it's really gonna be an extraordinary pick or anything like that. So
Yeah.
having Guy going with Henry here is the best bet.
Yeah, I could definitely see it playing out that way. For Guy, the way the board fell, the way I drew it up, it was between Najee and Jamar Chase, and he had Jamar last year. And kind of like you said, playing it safe, I feel like, looking at a receiver like that, like he wasn't necessarily the most consistent throughout the year. Like he had some huge games that, led to his top 5 finish. But in this case, do have him going with Najee. So we had Harris and Henry flip-flopped. Won't hit on a bunch of the same points. You kind of mentioned it. He's a safe player, 3-down back. Not in the best offensive systems in terms of scoring touchdowns and getting in the red zone, but his overall volume is still going to keep him cemented as a top 10 guy. So I think I would be very happy with him.
Yeah. Then moving on to pick 10, we have You Wish Wilson Chang. This is kind of a pick where I think I know Wilson will go here. Knowing Wilson, I think he's gonna go Joe Mixon with this pick. Wilson likes his running backs. I don't see him taking a wide receiver here. I don't think he's gonna reach on Devontae Adams because he's a Raider. I think he'll go Mixon. Wilson last year, if I'm not mistaken, he picked Chubb in the first round.
Yeah.
So I don't think he really is worried about the Joe Mixon and what's his fucking face? Is Perrine still on team?
Right, yeah, because they don't use Mixon on 3rd down.
Yeah, so I don't think he's really worried about the PPR vulturing. Considering he took Chubb last year, not too concerned about PPR with his backs. Like he just likes his bell cow backs.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna go Joe Mixon here. Joe Mixon finished running back what last year? I forget.
I think 3.
Running back 3 last year, came out of nowhere, had that season. So and he's not even that old, Mixon. I don't think
25, so. 26. Yeah, he's still good to go.
I think it's a pretty safe bet, good value here at number 10.
Yeah, I could definitely see Wilson going that way, but in my mock, I have him projected to go with another Bengal in the form of Jamar Chase. I don't talk to Wilson a whole lot. When I do, he's very snarly, especially with regards to fantasy. But, if you have a guy like Jamar Chase staring you in the face at 10, his upside is kind of like untapped. We saw last year, I think he had a couple of 3-touchdown games, 200-yard games. That one against the Chiefs came, I want to say it was in the championship round, but Guy didn't have him, so we kind of lost a little hype on that. What I'm trying to say is the dude is just like electric, and the Bengals made a bunch of upgrades this offseason with the line and all. That should help Burrow, give him some time to get the ball down the field a little bit more. So if we're going best player available, I would think that Wilson would probably go with Chase at 10.
So 11, we have your pick here. Now this one's kind of hard for me. Knowing you and Kevin have that little rivalry and you guys are picking back and forth, like I'm trying to think what player, you would really go to try and get the edge up there. I'm thinking Diggs. I have you taking Diggs here. I honestly really like Diggs this year. Josh Allen, we already saw the highlight that came out of preseason yesterday. He's already in midseason form. The Buffalo offense is going to be rolling from week one as long as Josh Allen's there. You had Josh Allen last year. I just think that Diggs. I mean, or I was between Diggs or Chase, but I feel like Diggs is the more reliable wide receiver here, just because Chase, a lot of his games did big games did come from like having 3 points, 4 points in the fourth quarter until he got like a 70-yard touchdown that came out of nowhere. Whereas I feel like Diggs is more a consistent guy. So
Mm-hmm.
I have you taking Diggs here.
Yeah. I also have myself taking Diggs, but if the draft went the way you said it did and Chase was on the board, probably like 90% certain I would go with Chase.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I have myself going with Diggs, a lot of the reasons you touched on, I had Allen last year. I've had Diggs in years past. You kind of know what you're getting with him. Very consistent, especially in a PPR format. Almost a lock to get 6 or 7 catches a game. Last year, the touchdowns were up. It was still kind of like a down year for him in terms of his standards. His first year in Buffalo, when Kevin had him, he was a lot better in terms of yardage.
I'm pretty sure he was number one yardage
It
that
might
year.
have been, yeah.
I think he was the yard leader.
Yeah, he was. I mean, the dude's money. He's electric. You really can't go wrong with either of those guys. So, I mean, I would be happy with either of them. But if Chase was there, I would probably lean him.
Yeah, so at 12, I have Kevin taking Chase at 12. Not really much to touch on. 12 Chase is really good value. But yeah, I was really I didn't know 11 and 12 Diggs Chase, but yeah, I think either way it's gonna go Diggs Chase or Chase Diggs at that 11 and 12 end of that round there.
Very possible. I have Kevin going with Mixon. So, I mean, either way you slice it, we have the same 12
You
players.
could also go Mixon. Oh yeah, never mind. You had Chase going at your 11, right? Or no, who'd
Yeah.
you have going? Oh, or Wilson had Chase in yours, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, either way, we had the same 12 guys going in the
Yeah.
first round, which shows we're pretty much on the same page in terms of who's going to go. I mean, after pick 3, I feel like, or maybe 4, that's when, everything kind of becomes a toss up and we'll see how the draft's really going to play out. But in terms of Kevin at 12, if you have a running back like Joe Mixon staring you in the face, I feel like that's hard to turn away. Kevin's always liked having a solid running back, one at least. Last year we saw him double up with Eckler and Gibson in a similar draft spot. So if
Yeah.
history repeats itself, I think he's going to try to go 2 backs, but definitely get at least one.
Mhm. So I actually took a lot longer than I figured. That was 28 minutes. That
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So we'll just do this real quick. So we have 2 owners, one who you think is going to fall off this year, and one who you think will have a bounce back year. I'll start with the fall off. I have Kenny as my fall off this year. I do not think he's going to last in our newly introduced free agency bidding. He'll probably end the season with all of his money. I don't know if he'll really even make a transaction. I think it'll make him fall behind more now this year. And I just honestly, I think it's time for the luck to just run out. I think it's about time for fantasy to bite him in the ass finally. Like he should be finishing like bottom in our league, but he never does. But I think this is the year for him.
Kenny is a great call for a fall off. I mean, years in the making. I feel like we all keep looking for it. And, despite Miles Sanders in the 3rd round, he's still just like, he doesn't go away. There's someone, like last year he had Leonard Fournette, who no one was thinking anything of. He just,
Top 5 running back
yeah,
last.
like that's how he does it. So, but for my fall off, I'm going to take a jab at the guy who's been on top for the last 2 years with Kevin.
Wow.
I think it's I mean, obviously we haven't done the draft yet, but just based on all the mocks I've done, I feel like the people in the top end of the draft have a significant advantage compared to those at the bottom. So with that being said, Kevin with the last pick, I think he's really going to have to hit on his picks. I mean, last year he had no problem doing that with a guy like Cup in the 4th round. But can he get that lucky again? A lot of things broke right for him. So I would not be surprised if Kevin honestly didn't even make the playoffs.
Interesting.
Taking a jab.
So Bounce back player for me, I have Wilson. Um, I think Wilson. I don't think Wilson didn't make the playoffs last year, right?
Nah.
I think Wilson could make a playoff appearance this year. No particular reason really, just kind of rooting for the kid, you know. Just hoping he has a good draft. Because you know Wilson does know his shit. You know, I think he just kind of. I don't know if he ever did a 12-man league before last year, but you know he was a rookie in our league last year, so his second year now. So I'm thinking he'll have a bounce back year now that he sees how the league works and all. So
Yeah, me and you are on the same page. I also have Wilson as my bounce back player. I think he showed some positive things last year, his first year in the league. Some of his draft picks I wasn't the biggest fan of, but his team wasn't the greatest. He didn't make the playoffs, but he still paid attention to his lineup. His bench had some decent depth, if I remember correctly. So I think he's in a decent spot, a decent draft pick at number 10, be able to do some damage. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm also rooting for the kid.
Yeah, all right. So that's gonna conclude our episode today. Thank you for everyone who stayed to the very end. Draft is in 1 week, right?
Tomorrow, right? Yeah.
From tomorrow, August 29th, 7 o'clock p.m. If you haven't heard or if it doesn't work for you, say something now. Because we have some people who haven't said anything. So, I mean, I guess we're all good for now.
Oh,
But
yeah. We got to be good.
so, good luck to everybody this year. We will see you guys on draft night again, August 29th, 7 p.m. I actually might, if I'm able to, because I'm gonna be coming back home next weekend because I got to do a wedding on Saturday,
Mhm.
and I can, because my class on Monday does have recorded lecture option, so possibly if I could change my flight from Sunday to Tuesday morning, I may be able to attend the draft in person, but I'll have to see about that.
I mean,
But so good luck to everyone. Let's hope to have a year with as little injuries as possible. Getting ready for we know you like your fucking injuries. But yeah, so anything you want to say before we log off here,
yeah,
Commish?
no, it was a fun little teaser episode. I'm glad we could get to you guys before the draft. We'll hopefully get to you, well, not immediately, but very shortly after the draft. We'll do a review, see how everyone's team's looking.
Yeah,
That point,
that's always the best episode right
yeah,
there.
we
Yeah.
can make some predictions and whatnot. That'll be good. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we look forward to getting back to you soon.
All right, everyone. Peace out.
Peace out.